The second passage in the set is what we're going to summarize now. It is about words in the Oxford English Dictionary and about compilation of dictionaries and so on. The passage was easy to read, and therefore you save a lot of time in reading. And if you're careful, this was the easiest passage in the set. All right, because the language was easy, most of it was easy, and the questions were more or less easy to moderate. All right. The team at the Oxford English Dictionary felt some nervousness about writing the definition of turf. An acronym. Acronym is where you use the first first letters of each of the words. So it's a kind of abbreviation for trans exclusionary radical feminist. T for trans, E for exclusionary, R for radical, F for feminist. Just like NASA is an acronym. So a dictionary felt nervous, slightly, not very sure about giving the definition of TERF. What is TERF? It's an acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, which this month has been added to its pages. So since it's a dictionary, it has to give a definition and the meaning. To a certain extent, it's like any other word, says Fiona Macpherson, a 50-year-old lexicographer from Grangemouth, Stirlingshire, who's worked at the dictionary since 1997. So this is what one of the workers of the dictionary says, that it's like any other word. Turf is like any other word in one way. But it would be disingenuous. It would be wrong. Ingenuous means innocent, naive. It would be wrong or shrewd to say that it is exactly the same. It would be wrong to say it's exactly the same. It's like other words, but in many ways, it's not exactly the same. Why? There seems to be more at stake, more at risk here. You want to be accurate. You want to be neutral. But it's a lot easier to be neutral about a word that is controversial. Now, when you're writing a dictionary and a definition in the dictionary, you want to be correct, accurate, and you also want to be neutral. She says it's very easy, it's easier to be neutral about non-controversial words. Next, the OED has served as a lexical record of the world's most widely spoken language and its culture since it was founded in the mid-19th century. It's a lexical record of English, words used in English. Post-truth was added into, and it tells you how it's a lexical record, what were the words added in different years. The English language evolves at such a pace that the OED lexicographers, the goalposts aren't so much shifting as sprinting away from them. So you have a goal. Okay, I have got 500 words to complete. Correct? But because the English language is evolving so fast, that goalpost is shifting. It's not just shifting, it is sprinting away. That means the language is evolving very fast with a lot of new words being added. Once a word has gained its place, it may be moved, for example, to be listed as a variant spelling, but it is never taken out. That means the dictionary only expands. So you never take out a word from the dictionary. You may keep it as a variant spelling, but you always, once a word has found a place in the dictionary, it stays. So a dictionary can only grow, it can only go bigger, it can never be shrunk. The word, and this is even true of mistakes. So even when mistakes are there in the dictionary, they continue. They don't do anything to it. That's the example he has given about Astor-Broad. Then he says, nor is the dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, is not limited to British English. It uses English words which are used in other countries as well, from Singapore to Jamaica, all kinds of world English. If they use Indianisms, they do actually. Quite a few Indian expressions like guru and all have been added. All right, now next. So because it adds not just British English and from other versions of English also, what happens? The resulting dictionary details some 600,000 words. The most recent print edition, the second published in 1989, fills 20 volumes and sets you back by £862. If you want to buy an Oxford English Dictionary, you have to buy 20 and you want to buy all 20 volumes of it, you have to pay around £862. The initial plan was to complete the third edition by 2005, but 17 years later, its editors are only halfway through because there's so many words. They wanted to to publish the next edition by 2005, but their editors are only halfway through. To an outside observer, the scale of the project, its ambition and the granular detail. It's not just ambitious that it has to cover as many words as possible in the ever changing language, also is very detailed, very, very takes care of the granular detail, minute details. Seems almost impossible. So when you think of that, it seems almost impossible. But again, when I put this to Macpherson, she's unfazed. Unfazed means she's not disconcerted, not doesn't lose her composure. What does she say? She says, we are in trouble if the language ends, and not just professionally. She says, we as human beings are in trouble if English ends. And I'm not talking just professionally because I'm working at Oxford English Dictionaries. The English language is huge, so therefore the job we are doing is a big job. The language is humongous, so the job also is big. But I don't find it overwhelming, it's energizing, it's exhilarating. She says, the scale of the project doesn't overwhelm me. I'm not daunted or totally lost in it. I feel energized and I feel thrilled. Bernadette Patton, an Australian former art teacher who's been at OED since 1987, recalls spending 4 weeks revising business, the definition for which was first published in 1888. There was almost nothing about commercial enterprise. You're covering 120 years of development in probably the most enormous area of activity in the 20th century. It was hell at that time, but it's really interesting to see it at the end. So she was revising business, the definition of business. Now, with the definition, as business changes, the definition also has to change, right? So initially there was nothing commercial associated with the word dictionary. So she says when she tried revising the definition of business, initially the work seemed terrible, but at the end of it, she says it was nice. To an outside observer, the scale of OED seems impossible almost, but Macpherson is unfazed. She says no. She says, we are in trouble if the language ends, and not just professionally. If English ends, we're all in trouble. That's one thing she said. Second, she says, the English language is huge. So the job is huge. Why is the task of making a dictionary to compile a dictionary with all or most of the current words and past words with accuracy and neutrality, why is it difficult? Because the language itself is huge. Therefore, the work is huge. And third, I don't find it overwhelming. It's energizing, it's exhilarating. This is what Fiona Macpherson said. Now we have to look at something that will weaken or undermine the credibility. Credibility means believability. Credible means believable. So she said this, which one would weaken it? Which one would make you doubt whether she's really speaking the truth? Does she really claim this? Right? She's saying this, but is it really true? Which one puts that doubt into your mind? Macpherson, along with her colleagues, painstakingly worked towards compiling the 200 senses of the verb run. Yes, they're working in detail because they are so committed. So this does not weaken, this would not weaken, this would, which shows Macpherson's commitment. Macpherson was against covering some senses of the word business when it was revised to reflect 120 years of development. Language evolves, so dictionaries also evolve with the language, which is why the example of business was given, but not necessarily in context with Macpherson. So this would not undermine the credibility. This would also strengthen it, saying that we have to be neutral and accurate. So if the word sense has changed, they have to be accurate and reflect that changed sense of the word. Of all her colleagues, Macpherson has taken the greatest number of leaves from office to 1997. Could be because of ill health. That does not undermine her claim that the work is big, but we all are energized and exhilarated and happy to be doing it. And that the language is important. So A, B, and C don't do it. Let's look at what D is saying. Macpherson often uses the term swamped, burdened, overwhelmed, flooded totally, snowed under, means again, totally overwhelmed, to describe her workload in the feedback forms to her employer. Now, if she writes that she's totally overwhelmed, she's totally buried under so much work, she's not able to do it, that shows that she's not energized, exhilarated. So that one would undermine the credibility of what she says. Right? So my answer would be D.